Hey boys and girls, Ron Bass with another edition of Soar Personal Development, your source for inspiration and pop culture and encouragement. And you get the idea. And everything else in between.
Yeah.
Devin Huntley joining me tonight, our producer.
Excuse me, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hanging in there. How about you?
Hanging in there.
That's my favorite response when people say, how you doing?
Hanging in there.
You know why I do that?
Why?
Because people are funny. Most people don't really care how you feel, for one.
That's true.
So if you're boasting about something that's going good, they don't want to hear that, because that makes them feel like they should be doing better than you. Mm-hmm. And so I usually just say, hanging in there. That way they don't have much to respond to, and that's kind of a shame, but that's the way people are. Most people, I think, are pretty much self-centered, and it's getting worse. It didn't used to be like this.
I would agree.
But if you notice, just like going into the store, how people are just so stoic now. Mm-hmm. They don't look at you. They don't smile at you. I mean, I'll wave at somebody and they're looking at me like, who is this guy? Speaking of that, I'll tell you a funny story. So the other day, I'm taking one of my technicians out on a service call because he just got out of house arrest.
Okay.
Great guy, had trouble with domestic stuff and got it all figured out. Got off of house arrest, but he doesn't have a vehicle. I said, okay, well, we'll go to plan B. I'll just take you to the call.
Right.
So I'm driving. He's in the back seat because my front seat's so full of gear that for working out and jiu-jitsu and all the things that I do. So I said, just sit in the back. So we get to this house, and it's funny. We diagnosed a clothes washer. Customer decided to replace it. It was too expensive to fix. So we're driving down the road back to the office, and I get another call. And it's so funny because I was like a block away from the exit and only about 5 blocks away from their house. So it just blew their mind. We pulled in within minutes, right?
Right.
And we walk up to the door, and the customer was like, who are you guys? Well, we're people you just called about the refrigerator. Well, you can tell they were just taken back. Like, have you got a business card? So I'm saying that to say this. People are so nervous and so stressed out.
Yeah.
And just so closed in right now, maybe with all the stuff going on in the world and whatever. And I said, yes, ma'am. And I gave her a card. Of course, on my shirt was same day service, our company. And the technician had a same day service shirt on. And it didn't take long. She was calmed down.
Right.
But to make even bigger long story short, we diagnosed the problem. It turned out to be really nothing. We charged a service call. And in the other room was her husband. And he started visiting with me. And because he just had knee surgery. And I was inquiring about how he got to that point, because I've been having some knee issues, and kind of got into this conversation. He said, by the way, what high school did you go to? Turns out we're like a year apart from our high school. Crazy. Know all the same people. How wild is that?
The world is so small.
The world is very small.
Especially here in town.
Especially in Springfield, Missouri.
In a small town that we live in, everybody kind of knows everybody. If we lived in like St. Louis or Kansas City, might be a little bit different.
Might be a little bit different.
There's however many high schools up there and suburbs, and you don't know everybody.
Small town USA.
Yep.
So another house arrest discussion about my technician. Yeah. So this is really interesting. I've never heard of this before, but it shows you how crazy the world has got. He has to text every time he goes anywhere to let them know where he's going. And he can only go to work. He can't go to the store. He can't go to a restaurant. I mean, it's just like, so today I actually went and bought him lunch and brought him lunch at my office.
Right.
So he could eat because he was so hungry, but he was afraid to stop at the store on the way to a job site because he was afraid the bondsman would yank his privilege.
Right.
So I've never heard of anything like that, to be that strict. And it's not like he murdered somebody. I mean, it's like it was him and his wife that got in this fight, and that one thing led to the next, and
blah blah
blah blah blah blah blah.
Right.
Yeah. So and so I'm thinking, but on the other hand, I said to him, hey, it's good news that you at least get out of the house.
Exactly.
You get to work, you get to make money now.
Right.
One of my other technicians sold him a truck on credit, so he's got a vehicle now.
Nice.
He could get out and do business. And
that's still
so
crazy.
There are some good people left in the world.
There are, but you can't even go out and get some food.
No, it's crazy. I had to bring him McDonald's today. And you know what's even funnier? I got him a quarter pounder with cheese, fries, and a Coke. And when I brought it to him, he says, "Oh man, that's my favorite thing to eat." And I had no idea.
That's crazy.
I just picked it off the menu, right?
There you go.
Crazy. Okay, so switch gears a little bit here. We'll go to some pop culture stuff.
Uh-oh.
Obesity. Now, how big of a problem do you think that is?
You threw a random one at me. Okay,
I know.
Obesity, interesting. Well, I think that adolescent obesity is more of a problem than adult obesity.
Okay.
Mostly because as an adolescent, it's harder to make the decision yourself of like, I'm overweight. You know what I mean? Especially when you're very, very young, like an infant. You know, when there's infants and they're chunky.
Well, yeah.
You know, and everybody's like, oh, they just
But they keep feeding the kid.
Exactly.
I don't get that.
But it's not the kid's choice is what I mean.
And so the kid grows up eating a lot, and then what happens when he gets a little older?
They get even more.
Were you fat when you were a kid?
I was
Were you chunky?
I was chunky when I was first born for the first like maybe 5 years of or 3 years of my life or so. I had chunky cheeks, and I just kind of was a bigger baby.
What percentage do you think of Americans are obese?
A lot. I don't want to give a random percentage.
Well, I looked it up.
Oh, you looked it up. Okay, so if I had to have an estimate, are we talking about obese or are we talking about adults?
The definition of obesity is?
Adults or just adults in the world or in the country? Country. I'm going to go with 32%.
Somewhere along that line, and the idea is that it's a lot. So forget about the percentage, just the idea that it's a lot.
Right.
And I don't remember that when I was growing up. It was like, you know what causes, I think, part of that is like you said, the parents throwing food down the kid's throat. Also, oh, he's so cute. Oh, he's so cute. Yep. But also, it's marketing because everywhere you turn, supersize this, or you got to make that bigger. And how about a large drink versus small? Blah, blah, blah,
because
blah, blah.
It's cheaper, quote unquote.
And it just, so they're pushing food down our throat every day, right? And what happens? We
just keep going.
Just keep eating and drinking and eating and drinking. And
it's the convenience.
And then when we don't work out on top of it.
Exactly. The other thing, I learned this in school. We had like a whole class about this. It was, forget what it was called, but it had to do with food and food in America and how in a lot of cities there are these places called food deserts where
food deserts.
Yes, so I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
The only thing readily available within this 5-mile radius or 2-mile radius is fast food.
Interesting.
Things that are only unhealthy for you.
Okay.
Like no gardens, no fresh fruits, no fresh vegetables. That's called a food desert.
Food desert.
Those happen a lot in big cities, like downtown areas, because it's just buildings.
Right.
So, like that's just something that we've learned is like it's the ingredients that they use in fast food that really
maybe fast food is a big piece of that puzzle.
It is. It's a huge piece of that puzzle
because it's not that healthy and it's a lot of calories.
They don't use a lot of fresh things either. A lot of fresh ingredients.
So if you just ate like fresh fruits and fresh vegetables every day, you would probably never be obese.
It's the pyramid.
And fish.
The pyramid. Yeah, fish like
fresh foods, fruits and vegetables, and you're never going to get fat.
Chicken, if it's cooked right. If it's cooked a specific way, like fried chicken's not good for you.
So what is it that makes us get so heavy? We eat a lot of calories. We eat sweets.
Sweets, saturated fats, oils, breads,
a lot
sugar.
A lot of sugar.
Sugar is a big one.
Pastries, and
salts, sodiums.
Well, here I've got some good news for you.
I'm listening.
Now, guess what? There's actually a pill.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's for real. And guess what? It's taking the place of all that of being disciplined. And it's an obesity drug. It's crazy, isn't it? And I read this article that it's let me think what they said. It's very expensive.
Well, yeah.
So the average person can't afford it, right?
No.
But that's what's happening literally right now. So you don't gain the weight and you lose the weight. So versus like surgery.
Right.
Like there's been a big thing for 20, 30 years now on.
Yeah, liposuction.
Well, not just liposuction, where they actually shrink they operate the stomach and they shrink the stomach. And that's called, can't think of what it's called.
Gastric bypass?
Something like that. I've got a couple friends that have done it. And they lost
can't remember it.
Hundreds of pounds. I mean, they were like very heavy.
Wow.
They lost a lot of weight. But I think the problem is the stomach may go back again to what it was. I'm not sure how or why that works, but some of these people have gained a lot of weight back again.
Your stomach
that was supposed to be like the magic pill.
Your stomach will naturally expand. So like, say you go along a couple of days without eating, your stomach will shrink.
Okay.
So therefore, you'll lose your appetite for those next couple of days, and it's harder to eat a full meal. But if you're used to eating a lot and you're constantly hungry, Just like we were saying, if you constantly feed a child, they're going to constantly want food because their stomach is expansive.
So let me throw this out.
I'm listening.
Here's the real answer.
Working out.
That's it.
It is.
It should be the center of the universe. I know I preach about it all the time.
Or music. How about
Well, music is the medicine, but working out is the real secret to
the dietary supplement
to having a successful life, because this is everything for you. It takes the place of a lot of medicines. It keeps your brain in
healthy
check.
Body and healthy.
You sleep better. You feel better. You look better. Your confidence is better. You move better, particularly as you get old. I read an article about aging the other day that said when you're in your 70s, you're only at about 50% of your lung capacity compared to like a 20 or 30-year-old. Now, that's pretty scary.
That is scary.
Your joints become rigid. They don't move as well, not counting the pain. And so you lose a lot of this movement ability. The fast twitch muscles disappear. Mm-hmm. Now you can't move as fast as you used to, like in a sports scenario. Reaction time is poor. Your balance is screwed up. It's just screwed up to get old. But but if you're going to get old and you're going to live long enough, you better think about that. The only antidote is exercise. So I'm not going to preach about that today, but we talk about that all the time, right? And we should, because people out there need to listen to this and pay attention to this. And what's the old saying? If you just help one person, it was as if to have helped the whole world. Yeah, it's a powerful thing.
I agree with you.
So maybe there's one person out there that might take our advice, I hope. And then let us know. Call us, write us.
Put it in the comments.
There
you go.
Okay, what else are we going to talk about tonight? I know what it is. Along the lines of working out and feeling good and looking at steroids. So I'm reading a lot of articles about steroids lately.
Okay.
Why is it that people are into that trip? And more is happening. This is happening more and more, by the way. It used to be just like bodybuilders. Now it's like a lot of average gym goers are doing steroids. Why is that?
They want results fast, instant gratification.
And what is the gratification? What is the result of the steroids?
You're going to build muscle about 2 to 3 times quicker.
Okay, so you're going to look more you're going to look more muscular, which is an ego thing, and it's probably a social thing to attract the opposite sex. And women are doing it too.
Just to attract whoever you want. It's not necessarily the opposite sex.
Well, to attract whatever sex it is that you're interested in.
I'm just saying. We're
Speaking of that, let's shift gears again. Today there was a shooting in Nashville at a Christian school, and the person that did it was
a female. That's all I read.
Was originally a female.
That's all I read.
She transgendered to male.
Interesting.
She was a student, and not only that, her father, I think, is the minister of the school.
Wow.
It gets really deep. I just read an article earlier about this. So my gut feeling is something they're saying, well, what's the motive? We don't know what the motive is. So here's my gut feeling. The motive was probably that person was not happy, had been ridiculed, criticized, had a chip on her shoulder, perhaps angry. Obviously, you don't kill people unless you're probably angry. But I shouldn't say that you wouldn't kill somebody if you weren't angry. But that's if you're going to kill that many innocent people, you're probably angry about something to prove a point, right? So here we go again. The whole idea of changing sex. You're born one way physically, but you feel another way psychologically. Maybe you feel another way physically.
Maybe.
I don't know anybody personally that's transgendered, but I'd like to meet that person and get a better understanding. To me, I'm thinking that it's probably a natural thing for that person. They feel that way,
right? And
they want to be that way. But man, the repercussions from that are very difficult.
I agree.
Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. I would.
What do you have to say about that? Do you have some insight into this topic?
If I had to put myself in that person's shoes, I don't know the whole story, but from what I've read and from what you have told me, you have to think about it. Your father is a minister, and you're going completely against the grain of what your entire family. They're preaching
anti-homosexuality,
anti anything that isn't their religion.
Right.
And that's the hard part about religion is, just my own opinion. Say per se Christianity. Christians will say, we don't want your morals on our morals, but then they'll continuously shove their own morals down others' throats.
There's some hypocrisy going on.
There is, exactly.
Is what you're trying to say.
Yes, in layman's terms. Yes.
Yeah.
So, just from the outside looking in, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders. I'm not telling someone
a lot
to
of
go
pressure.
out. Yeah, no, I'm not saying go out and shoot up the school, but we're
going to hear more about it.
Exactly.
So
we'll find out.
Be interested to hear more. Here's another thought. What did people do 100 years ago when there wasn't surgery where you could physically transgender? Did they cross-dress? Was that something that? Because I had an employee one time whose husband turned out to be he was homosexual, and he would cross-dress, and I would see him literally on the streets, like walking. And this was back years ago when this wasn't very well thought of. Now it's more normal by comparison. And is that the gig? I mean, a man that wanted to be a woman versus a woman who wants to be a man, same thing, right? I mean, in terms of you're born one way, but you want to be another way.
Kind of.
So they would cross-dress.
So there are.
Is that part of the gig, though?
Yes, there are multiple facets to sexuality, just in general, whether it's homosexuality, transsexuality.
But if a guy dressed like a woman, that means he identified himself as a woman, correct?
That's not necessarily true.
It isn't?
No, there are some men that just cross-dress just because they want to cross-dress. I don't know, but we
need to learn more about this.
I agree.
It would seem to me it would be because they wanted to be that other sex, or they identify with that sex.
Sometimes they just feel more comfortable in
or
that.
Or a woman identifying more as a man, and she would be like short hair, and she would be more attracted to women than men because she identifies herself as a man being attracted to a woman.
Maybe.
I mean, this is what I'm thinking.
Maybe, but what if there's a woman that's heterosexual and she still dresses like a boy? She kind of has more masculine features.
Masculine tendency, but that's still different than wanting to be romantic with a...
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. They can have both.
Then you're bisexual. And how does that work? And then what's the other gender, the term? There's so many new terms.
I mean, there's so many. There's asexual.
What does asexual mean?
Asexuality is you're more into yourself and your own life than being sexual with another person.
So you're just sexual with yourself.
Kind of. You don't have sex. You don't want.
Oh, you don't have sex.
Yeah, you don't want any sexual.
You don't masturbate.
You could. That's up to that person.
I mean, I read an article that said that if you don't masturbate so many times a day, particularly with men, that it's really it's unhealthy.
It can be,
particularly at a certain age.
If you masturbate, I think it's 3 times a week as a man, you can lower your chances for prostate cancer.
Okay. Fair enough.
There's so many different things about the human body and the human mind.
We're gonna have to study this.
Yeah, that you can get into. There's just
comment. Help us out here. Because we want to learn more and talk about it more.
And every person, and the hardest part is every person is different. So you could have 2 men that have become transsexual women.
Let's shift gears and get a bit on a more lighter subject. How about that? Back to some more Ron's rant. So the other day, I was supposed to have an appointment with my eye doctor, just a checkup, because I had cataract surgeries and. Man, talk about a miracle. I can see again. It's it's crazy.
That's good, though.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great thing that the technology exists, that you can have this done and you can see again, and it's almost perfect vision. It's crazy. I love that, right? Thank you. So I was in a position where I couldn't make the appointment on time without feeling I would be irresponsible to some business things. So I called to let them know that I had to reschedule. Well, I get a voicemail. And the voicemail said basically to hold on, or I got a recording, hold on, and then somebody would answer. It took quite a while. Finally, a person answered. I'm not really sure what kind of person it was that answered, because they were like not enthusiastic, pretty dry. They weren't talking very loud. They didn't seem like they were very interested. And here's the crazy part. This is an answering service. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I can't take a message.
Huh? But you're the receptionist.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't take a message. Are you kidding me? No, we can't take a message. You'll have to call back during normal business hours. But aren't you an answering service? Yes, we're an answering service. I mean, I don't understand this. This is just a couple of days ago. Can you explain that to me?
No, because...
This is an eye doctor clinic.
Wouldn't your appointment be in business hours? And if you call just before your appointment? I just
don't understand this, man. I don't know what world I'm living in right now. And I'm telling you, this really happened just a few days ago.
We're living in the doctor's world.
So I had to call back and get a real person. And then they were super cordial and set me a new date. No problem.
That's good.
Wow.
At least you figured it out.
Wow. Wow.
That would have made me so angry that I wouldn't even have. I just would have been like, forget it. I'm not coming in.
Okay, ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Some more Ron's rants.
All right.
Okay, so sometimes, depending on cash flow, as you know about, I wind up using an overdraft scenario in my bank. Well, if you're already in a position where you're having to use an overdraft, clearly you're already having an issue.
Right.
Then on top of that, they charge like $20 every time they pay the check, right? Mm-hmm. But it gets even more complicated. Now, I had a company that I changed. I went to another company to do some credit card processing, which, by the way, didn't work out at all. They kept all of our money. Another problem. I could get into this discussion about credit card companies. Look, there ain't nothing perfect in life.
No.
And I'm not complaining, but I'm analyzing. So now this company sent up one penny to my bank account to verify my bank account.
Right.
And the friggin' bank charged me $20 to pay the penny. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Are
you kidding me?
I paid a $35 overdraft fee for $7. It was overdrafted by $7.
Control my anger, please.
I can't, because I'd be angry too. Trust me.
Trust me. And here it is. One penny paid.
Let me see this.
How much did they charge?
That's crazy.
How much did they charge me to pay the one penny? $17.50.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, really?
Good thing they didn't charge you for an analysis fee.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
Now, Davin, I'm a positive, optimistic guy, but really, what is the world coming to? I mean, tell me. This is crazy.
Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know.
All right, Davin. Have we bored people enough?
I don't know. I think we have. I mean, we're at 22. That's wow.
I know.
22 minutes. You couldn't have told me that was 22 minutes.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Couldn't have told me that.
But when you have stuff that you're passionate about or that you're interested in or that makes good comment, it's good to talk about, time goes so quick.
And you and I have good conversation. We have good chemistry. So
sometimes we just mix it up. This was kind of a little bit of Ron's Rants, a little bit of pop culture, a little bit of motivation, a little bit of curiosity.
Getting back into the swing of things. We're sorry that we've missed the last couple of weeks. I'll take the blame for that. We had a show. On Friday.
Tell them about the show.
We did well at the show. We made the most money that we ever had.
A lot of people don't know who we are.
We had a Soar High Live, Soar Records, SoarHighEntertainment.com,
which is our record label.
Soar High Records,
our executive producer.
Soar High Records on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere that you can find music. You can stream music.
Soar, SOAR, High
Records.
Records or SoarHighEntertainment.com.
That's the website.
So we had a show this weekend.
Yep.
You're very busy getting prepared for the last few weeks.
We played 4 hours.
4 hours of all original music.
Yep.
10 artists.
Yes.
It was busy.
Yes. A lot went on. We had a good show.
We had a really good show. We've got more shows coming up this summer.
We have 2 in June. We have these next 2 months off. We're getting a new studio. We're setting a lot of stuff up. We got to upgrade the computer. I don't know if I've broken that news to you, but hopefully I can just...
More investment.
No, hopefully I can just switch them and take gut one and put it in the other one.
No, we can't.
No.
Take this apart. You've got something.
I've got it all laid out.
How come we have to do this?
That one overheats because we're doing too much.
Really?
We've got too much stuff.
That was a new computer a year ago.
It was. It's just that...
Wow.
Well, a year ago we had, 3 artists? And then now we have 12 or 10. And, we're trying to make music for everybody. And
pretty well.
We've got however much... we've got 2 gigs worth of space over there, or 2 terabytes worth of space, and it's almost full.
It's pretty wild.
So, yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, cool.
Something after we set the studio up. But
all right, guys. I guess that's about it for today. So just remember, if you don't give up, the stars will always line up. And until next time, don't take any wooden nickels. Stay positive. Adios.
Adios.